Hey everybody, welcome to another installment of The Way It Is. And this is your host, Luca with my teammates here, Sam Myers on my right, Joel Malcolm on my left. And I'm going to tell you, this ain't Costa Rica anymore. I'll tell you that. So to say I'm glad to be back would be definitely a big fat lie. So, but anyway, I hope you're staying warm. We're still practicing, of course, our COVID things. And just so you know, I even got randomly selected when I got out of the airport or through the airport for my COVID screening test, and I got my negative results today. So I'm all good. So anyway, so today we're talking about, because while I was away, and invariably in this business, having done it for as long as I have, if you ever want to get busy, you plan a holiday. So sure enough, I took the trip, and these guys were run off their feet. We listed 3 properties. They all sold with literally in days. We were holding offers. And so that's sort of today's topic, in the sense that on the heels of Mr. Macklin not doing anything with the Bank of Canada rate and staying at 0.25%, we are in, I will say, and go on record as saying, the most frenzied January market that I've experienced in 34 years. Yes, you heard it here. It is, I liken it to panic buying in the stock market, and it is a pool of piranhas. I'm going to bring every analogy, metaphor into it if I can, that simply when a property comes up, because as we all know, I sound like a broken record, the scarcity of inventory, and in January, it's even exacerbated even more because it's January, and it is a feeding frenzy out there. And so I'm going to segue over to Sam, because he's got some recent sales and stats that will sort of illustrate this point. So
first off, just a disclaimer, obviously this isn't for every house, but it happened once, and then we were all shocked. We almost threw up at the price that a place sold for. And then it happened again and again and again. And there's no sign of it not happening to a variety of places that arguably never should have hit a purchase price of these, of this number. Mm-hmm. So just to kind of give some contents, 2 properties in the area. Well, the first one is a townhome in and around the west end of Kingston. It's probably about 1,200 square feet, unfinished basement, 3 bedrooms, 1 full bathroom, 1 half bathroom. The highest comparable up until this recent sale was $505,000. And then literally this month, one sold for $570,000, and there was an offer for $615,000 on it, but it was turned down because it did have a financing condition, and that could be a concern going from the comparables market of 505 to that number.
Certainly could, yeah.
Next up, we have a semi-detached home that, again, the most recent comparable of a similar 2-story style was $480,000. This one did have a new kitchen and a nice new coat of paint, but other than that, it didn't warrant what it got, which was $635,000, which is shocking.
It was gold paint, actually. So yeah,
it also had 24 offers, I believe, on that one. So a lot of people out there looking at it.
Like I said, 24 offers for one property. Yeah.
But it's not in it. That's not even a rare scenario, right? Like on Swanfield and Warburton, the 2 we had listed, we were both in the double digits. Yeah. And it's like, obviously, everybody's used to having several bids in, but that amount on practically every property. I know the one Elizabeth that was going today had over a dozen as well. Yeah. And these are all priced, relatively close to what they should be going for even in a COVID market.
Yeah.
And
they're still getting blown out of the water.
And yet, though, Sam, finish up, because there's one price range that's going to shock people, I think, when you say that. So
last one, second last one, kind of go into an investor's market, is that there's the classic up and down, one a unit up top, a unit down below. We've seen 2 of these that sold, one in the West End, one in the East End. The one in the West End, the highest comparable on the street, $525. This one just sold for $628. Then we go into the East End, and this one's crazier. The highest comparable in and around the area was $507,000, and the most recent one just sold with 34 offers for $666,000. Crazy. And then now, and this kind of ties around to all the circumstances in the market are pointing to selling your home because they're achieving values that nobody expected. So another one in Henderson Place just sold for $1.2 million. And it was a nice home, but to give some context, there has never been a sale in the Henderson area for over $1 million. I think the most recent was $950,000, and that was a pretty big home. So this one just sold for 1.2, and that's not the first. Even in Strathcona Park, the first sale of a home that cracked $1 million as well. And this was one that needed a lot of work. Blue carpets in the dining room, blue carpets everywhere. So
yeah, and the one, I guess if we're going to be technical, because Henderson Place, technically that property was on a cul-de-sac in Auden Park, one could call it. Which again, anyway, to those that Auden Park means something, and not that I'm not slagging it by any means or trying to make fun of the distinction, but it goes to show you that even a house that gets listed at 9 and change, which it was, I can't remember the exact number, gets multiple offers and sells for $1.2 million. So to bring that all into context is the fact that if there were ever a time when if you're sitting on the fence or trying to decide, should I sell now, whether it's an investment property, whether it's your personal residence, I dare say that this is the window of opportunity to do it. And we thought that maybe end of January, the window would stay open and then close. But like I said, how I started the podcast, on the heels of what Macklin did today or didn't do today, I think this is going to carry on for at least until that specter raises its head again. So meaning that now, if you go to sell, you're going to hit a home run, no question about it. But that's the other thing. Let's put a disclaimer on this or temper this, because common sense still has to prevail. Because I had a gentleman referred to me, and he came in when he had heard about some of these stories, and he said, well, I got a house in Amherstview, and the only one that was for sale on the market at that time was $730,000. And he said, and so after he described his house and everything like that, and I said, well, you should list for, I think you should list without seeing it, $599.9, hold offers, and you're probably going to get somewhere between $650,000 and $700,000. So he wouldn't hear of it because he thought, well, that just happened there. And if that sold for $200 and some odd thousand over asking, then mine should sell for $200,000 some. And so it should sell for like $750,000 to $800,000. So it doesn't quite work that way. And there's even homes selling in today's market, like even normally today in today's normal, where they're selling for $50,000 over asking or less than $50,000 over asking. So it's certainly not, you can't paint everything with the same brush. And let's understand the apart from the one in the $1 million range, the other properties are right in the sweet spot. They're all getting listed in that $399.9 to $499.9 range, and then they're going up from there. And again, that's the model, right? If all of those properties had been listed at $599 or $600, they wouldn't be getting the offers and the prices. I don't think so. They'd be getting the offers. So it's list here at a perceived market or under market value to let the market and 24 buyers or 34 buyers or however many buyers decide what their value is. The other thing that's skewing the market, and a bit of our pet peeve with us, but it helps if you're selling your home as you're a seller, you can leverage it and take advantage of it, because I surely don't think any of them are listening to my podcast, is the influx of out-of-town agents that we're getting into the Kingston area. Yeah. So believe it or not, Toronto agents I think I've probably beefed about this before, but are getting in their car with their clients, driving to Kingston, showing properties, not knowing anything about anything, and dropping dough on places like this. Yep. Because from where they're coming from, this stuff is still relatively inexpensive, right? And that goes without saying. Like that's I guess a bigger sort of overarching theme is that, and because I have said this before, that Kingston is relatively still affordable to buy in, because one of the things we wanted to talk about today was, or debunk, I guess, which we're getting more data, and that'll come up in another podcast, is this myth of I can't afford to buy in today's market, or I can't buy in today's market. Listen, qualifications aside, because it is what it is. You need, if you have an income, you're only going to qualify for so much based on all the other factors that go into qualifying for a mortgage. But there are ways to buy successfully in this market, and that's why we're here. You've got 3 people here that will guide you through that process, talk you through how to best prepare for it, both from a buying, an offer perspective, from an offer to make, and strategies involved in that. Sorry, I'm stealing the show, Joel.
No, I mean, that's great. And it's definitely, as a buyer, you need an agent who's able to act quickly. If you drag your feet in this market, that property's gone. If you have an agent who doesn't understand, what preemptive offers are, even, because that's a huge way now. If a property is going to accept a preemptive or look at a preemptive, that's a huge potential way for you to get that property, without competing against a dozen other offers or things like that. So honestly, it really does come down to your agent. Yes, you may have to adjust your expectations. Obviously, home prices have risen quite a bit, but if you are, actively wanting a property, we'll be able to find you one.
Yeah, no, and a good point. And again, January, February, historically low inventory levels. I'm going to say that's going to continue a little bit, but
we're down 36% from October in terms of inventory.
There you go. Now, as the days and weeks and months progress, that's going to change. There will be more stuff coming on the market, but again, there is such a pent up demand. If you have 34 people making an offer and only one gets it, well, 33 people are still looking for a house, right? So, or 24 people are still looking for a house, right? So, there you go. So the takeaway, if you want to list your home, definitely and hit a home run, now would be the time.
Call us before the end of the week.
Yeah, truly. Let's have a conversation for sure, because this is a bit of a perfect storm of variables that are conspiring to get sellers even better money than's been happening in the last 24 months. So there you go. No surprise there. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the Costa Rican podcast, and I appreciate your indulgence in that. And I'm certainly now with today's forecast, or how cold it was today when I walked out this morning, I kind of wished I had been back there. But anyway, thank you for your time, and we'll catch you on the next one.